I feel really good. But for 100, you know, people say, what did you do right? And I say, don't ask. I don't know.
Can't put me finger on what lies in store.
The original show, Carl Reiner was considering casting, and it was between me and Johnny Carson. And fortunately, Johnny and I ended up where we belonged. He wouldn't have been any good in this, and I would have stunk at his job.
Take him to the vet.
To the vet?
Yes, Rob, please. That poor bird is suffering.
All right. Well, come on, Stanley. We're going to go get a physical.
Carl must have interviewed 100 girls looking for the right one. And he said what caught him about Mary, that she had a ping in her voice. He said there's a ping there that got his attention. He took her by the head, took her into the producer and said, this is the new Laura.
Rob, how could you have been so foolish?
From the first show she was on, from the first word she spoke, she was perfect.
Is that what modern daddies tell their children about the facts of life?
There was no breaking her in. I mean, she was working with 3 people who had done a lot of comedy. She had never done comedy. She was unbelievable. She was great from day one. It was just meant to be, I think.
Oh, dear.
What's the matter? What?
What?
You said, oh, dear.
I was just sighing.
Well, honey, at a time like this, don't sigh unless you really mean it.
I remember the casting directors and people, after we went on the air, she was the lady who played the wife on a sitcom. I mean, that was her image. They didn't realize how much talent there was there. So we put together a special called Dick Van Dyke and the Other Woman.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Did walnuts come out of that closet?
Walnuts?
Yeah?
We showcased everything she did, singing, dancing, everything. We really showcased her. And bang, after that, she got the series. Yeah, we had a crush on each other, purely innocent, but we just loved each other. She was quite a gal. I said in an interview that I didn't think there was enough quality kids entertainment. Well, Walt Disney heard it, called me up, and put me in Mary Poppins. And he took me around. He had several offices with watercolor paintings of the various scenes, and then he had the boys play the score for me, and I went home walking on air. I knew way before we started that we had a wonderful movie.
Hello, art lovers.
Everybody was kind of affected by it. We knew we had something really valuable, really good to do, so we all did our best and enjoyed it as much as we could. This little guy, he was ornery. Oftentimes we'd have to stand there, you know, while they lit, and he would get boring, and he used to bite me on the butt. He would give me a bite. He was just playing. The little girl was sweet, and of course the lady of all time. My problem with Julie was I'm not really a singer, and Julie had not only had that beautiful soprano, but she sang just a little on top of the note, a little sharp.
Oh, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious.
I don't know how many takes I had to do in the pre-record. I finally got there, but it was hard. I don't think we ever even had an argument. We just had a good time. Doing a musical is fun. I don't care what you're doing. It's just fun. You never get tired of it. The first number when we go into the fantasy thing, ain't it a beautiful day, bright as a morning in May.
I feel like I could fly.
There's something about that and the dance that went with it that was just fun. I did my best to look like a real dancer, but some of the stuff is just a little hokey. But it's funny, I think. The dance with the penguins was quite an experience because the animators had to be there to tell me exactly where every bird was. And it took a lot of takes, but when we got it, and I saw it on film, it blew me away how great it looks. And I like my dancing. It is a little eccentric, but that, I think, is what got me the job, probably.
Get your knees up. Get your knees up, stepping time. Get your knees up, stepping time. Give me a reason, give me a rhyme. Get your knees up, stepping time.
I got an award from my crew. She got the Oscar, so the crew made me a statue. It's a little man with a broom made out of nuts and bolts and sprayed gold. It really is cute.
2 lumps, Uncle Albert?
Yes, please.
Bert?
No, thank you. No sugar for me.
When we would all have tea on the ceiling with Bert, Edwin, and they broke for lunch and forgot about me and left me hanging there. And I had to yell for help. God, that was fun. All my kids, this is up in in Mandible Canyon. Carrie and Stacy and Barry. Oh, there's Chris, yeah. My kids are in their 70s now. My son's an old man. Yeah, that was the first house we bought when we moved out from New York, when we started the series. When we first got married, we had nothing. I mean, I had no money, no car, no anything. So I spent most of my time out looking for work and working during those early years. I was raised in a family with no money, so the whole thing was getting some money together and getting a home. I bought a home on the GI Bill, finally, but I think it was the toughest was I did game shows, I played nightclubs, I did about everything. I did radio. At one point I was doing a disc jockey show at 5 in the morning, and then at night I was working with a partner in nightclubs. So I was getting like 3 or 4 hours sleep in between. But that's the only thing I can remember is working so hard to get going, to get a foothold. So they probably got neglected at some point because I was really working hard to get out of poverty, so to speak. But I haven't had any complaints from anybody. That car was a big, heavy piece of machinery, and it had a 4-cylinder Ford engine in it, an British Ford. You couldn't get going very fast in it.
Well, what do you think of it?
She's the most beautiful thing I ever saw in my life.
It was fun to drive, though, the size of it. We drove it for miles and miles with, camera cars on it. These kids were dolls. They seemed to enjoy it as much as I did.
Bang, bang, chitty, chitty, bang, bang. A fine four-fended friend.
The first day of Chitty Bang Bang, I reported to go get made up. And I sat in the chair, and the director called the makeup man over, and I heard him say, "What about the hooter?" And the makeup guy said, "Hey, I'm not a plastic surgeon. It's the first nose joke I ever heard. Nobody ever made fun of my nose before, or since." I was not a dancer. I never trained or anything. And to discover that I could do that, the opening bamboo number, at the end, we had to jump over that bamboo, and every time one guy would miss. We did 26 takes. So that last shot is the last one I could have done. But I didn't know I could do what I did. The choreographer kept saying, "You can do it." And it was just a thrill, because I didn't know I could dance. I was backstage in the green room at Emmy, waiting to go on. And one thing I had never done was ever approach a strange woman in my life. And she walked by, and without thinking, I jumped up and said, "Hi, I'm Dick," right? And asked her to sit down, and found out she was a makeup lady, and I hired her on the spot. And then all during the shows, it didn't take too long. I kept proposing, and I finally won out. But she is responsible for Halloween, for publicizing me. I don't know what all. I can't even list everything she does. She's constantly busy. She has a big following online with her own show. She sings, she dances. When I learned all that, And then I found out she likes Halloween. That did it. She had to be a part of the family. And now we're pretty famous for our Halloweens. She's a joy. She's a joy. She can get me singing or dancing or whatever she wants. I'm just lucky. It's hard for me to believe it was chance, you know, that I just suddenly picked her out of a crowd. There's some fate in there, I think. I really believe it.
How did you handle the age difference?
Well, you know, it hasn't turned out to be any problem. We thought it might be in some regard, to some extent, but it hasn't really. I'm infantile to start with. Emotionally, I'm about 13, so that's really been a problem. And she's quite mature for her age. So I don't think we haven't had any problem with age at all. We've done a lot of dancing together, but of course, being of her generation, she didn't know anything about the music of my generation. She has learned practically every song I ever knew from the 40s and on, and we sing them and harmonize. But she just took the time and the trouble to learn all my favorite songs. I don't know any of her favorite songs. She had never heard of the old barbershop song. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. Nothing could be sweeter than your sweetie when you meet her just dawning. Where the morning glories bloom around your door, whispering pretty stories you long to hear much more. Walking with your cutie when the dew is pretty early in the morning. And I just harmonized right there. Mama, mama. If I had a lead lamp for only a day, we'd make a wish, and everybody say, nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina. Nothing could be finer than to be Carolina in the morning, in the morning. Yeah, that's what, we sang that, and I was just flabbergasted that she could sing and dance. This is the sequel, yeah. Yeah, I got to dance. Was I 92 or 93? Yeah, I got to dance. It looks pretty much like I look like. I wouldn't need any makeup now. I played an old man a lot, even on the old series. And I always made them, you know, and they're not really that way. They were funnier that way. I think of how rare it is that a person gets to do for a living what they love to do. Most people, you know, have to go sit in an office. I never forgot that I look forward to getting up every morning and going to work, because it's what I would have done for nothing. I had the entire family,
Yeah.
and they took up the whole backyard.
How many grandkids do you have?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'd have to count.
I'm having them. How many are there?
Great-grandkids. He has like 8.
Oh yeah, great.
great-grandkids.
Yeah, my grandkids I know, but great-grandkids, I don't know. They're sprouting everywhere. I feel really good. But for 100, you know. But I really don't. I have no pain, no discomfort. People say, what did you do right? And I say, don't ask. I don't know. I'm rather lazy, and I think, I've always thought that anger is one thing that eats up a person's insides, and hate. And I never really was able to work up a feeling of hate. You know, the things I don't like, people I don't like and disapprove of, but I never really was able to do a white heat kind of hate. And my father was a person who was constantly upset by the state of things in his life and everything. And it did take him at 74 years old. I think that is one of the chief things that kept me going.
So Dick, what's next for you? What are you looking forward to?
Well, my birthday, because she's arranged quite a celebration. I just hope I'm up for all of it. Yeah, she's gonna give me the town of Malibu, I think. Yeah, she's got a lot of big plans, so all I have to be is feeling well enough to get through it. I'm pretty satisfied with the good luck I've had. Most people seem to have an idea about death that they are aware of it. In other words, they say, oh, nuts, I'm dead now. They are aware that they're dead, and you're not aware of anything. When you expire, you expire. I don't have any fear of it. For some reason, I can't explain that, but I don't. I've had such a wonderfully full and exciting life that I can't complain. It's just almost like it's accidental. I was having the time of my life doing all this stuff and creating a legacy at the same time. What I've left in the way of children's entertainment and children's music, I believe that's my legacy. I don't think remembering me is that important. It's the music we leave behind.